next musical artist before some more speakers, and I apologise folks, I spoke too soon. I thought the weather gods were on our side. Apparently because I had a wee go at Gordon Brown, he's made it rain. Please don't let the rain dampen your spirits. Young campaigner who says he's nervous, nothing to be nervous about, he's among his friends. Let's hear it for Jordan Daly.
Thanks everyone. I'm Jordan Daly. I was one of the founders of an organisation called Unite Scotland, and we held a rally up at Buchanan Street steps after the violence and the fascism that we saw in George Square just a couple of weeks ago. I'm here to talk about something that I think is really important that everyone here needs to remember. There is a fight for independence and we will win it, but what we need to recognise is that alongside the fight for independence is the working class movement. It's a movement against the establishment, against the elite. We have the power. We need to let them know that we aren't standing for any more of it. It was made clear in the last few weeks of the referendum campaign that the people that voted for change were the people that were most affected by the government's austerity. And in the turnout, the most socially deprived areas voted yes, the working class areas voted yes. That was a cry for help, but it didn't fall in deaf ears, because we're here today to stand up for them. We are living in a system that does not work. It's a system that benefits the elite. The rich get richer at the expense of the poor. We're living in a system where corporations are allowed to avoid tax payments, funnel billions out of the economy, and the poor are vilified, the poor are blamed. We blame the benefits, we blame the immigrants. The rich are looking after themselves, but we woke up, and that's what we need to remember. The most vulnerable people in our nation, instead of being given opportunity, they're given food banks, they're given tax rises, they're given welfare cuts, their healthcare's getting privatised. That's what we need to stand up against. We live in a system where we're being dragged back into war, and the working class people are getting sent overseas to fight and die for the elite. It's a system that glorifies the elite, where we are told that we need to be like them. I don't want to be like them. I don't want to be devoid of moral value. I want to be humane. I want to help the people at the lowest end of the social scale. We need to make sure that the Scottish Government know that we won't take anything lying down. We can't be taken in by the romantic idea that the current Scottish system is the answer to all our hopes. There's a very long fight ahead of us, and it cannot stop after independence. That's what we need to take away, and that's what we need to remember. We still need to come together. This is a working class movement. It's a socialist movement.
It's a movement.
Everybody's involved in it. We're up against the Tories, the red Tories, the yellow Tories, the mainstream politicians, the media, the elites and the bankers. That's who we're fighting, and they're relying on us being scared. They terrified people into submission. They vilified everyone. They targeted people who didn't have social media, who were reliant on the newspapers. The media bear the responsibility for the outcome of this referendum. Westminster pulled the strings of that referendum, and they pulled the wool over a lot of people's eyes. Their fear tactics shone through, but what also shone through is that the people have a voice. Going forward, Scotland needs to work together at this point. We need to ensure that the elites know that we are a threat and that we will not sit down. The best thing to come for the referendum campaign that every one of us here today should be proud of is that we woke up, we stepped outside the box, and we won't go back into it. So going forward at this point, as I say, the most important thing to remember is that this cannot be a means to an end. We can't stop after independence. We do have a fight ahead of us. The referendum might have ended on the 19th of September. The official referendum might be done, but the movement is still going on. The revolution is happening, and it's starting now. And every single person in this square today is a key figure in that movement. Every single one of you gathered here today is an activist, and we need to remember that we have a big fight ahead of us. We're up against power, we're up against the government, but what we need to remember, it says over here, people make Glasgow. That's true, but people make Scotland, people make Holyrood, people make Westminster, people hold the government up, and they know that, and we know that, and we need to make sure that we work and we continue to work on that. Every person here has a responsibility to keep this movement going forward, and if anyone can break the establishment, if anyone can tear down the Westminster system, it's us.
Let's hear it for Jordan Neely! Brothers and sisters, Jordan, in part of his speech, mentioned food banks. Can I just tell you, I've been informed that the 2 vans organised by yourselves and Loaves and Fishes are now filled with food bank collections. Well done, everybody! Loaves and Fishes will distribute them across the food banks in Glasgow. And I have to say to you loud and clear, it's a damn shame that we've got food banks in Glasgow or any part of Scotland. Some people, I just want to wave at the back. Can you hear us? There were some complaints that maybe people at the back couldn't hear. If that's the case, please pass the message forward. Brothers and sisters, one of the speakers who was invited today sent a message of solidarity and support. He asked me to tell those of you gathered here today that we have to continue to have nae fear. The man in question, who's taken his grandson on holiday, is Jim Sillars. Jim fought a tremendous campaign, and when it comes to having people on this so-called Smith Commission, I think we need somebody like Jim Sillars fighting for the people of Scotland on that commission. Our next artiste is related to Jim Sillars. She's a granddaughter of Jim Sillars. Josephine Sillars is an artist in her own right who has toured with the National Collective, and she's now going to entertain you for the next 10 minutes. Let's hear it for Josephine Sillars!
That's okay? Yes, no, maybe. I don't know. Can you repeat the question? You're not the boss of me now. You're not the boss of me now. You're not the boss of me now, and you're not so big. You're not the boss of me now. You're not the boss of me now. You're not the boss of me now, and you're not so big. Life is unfair, so I just stare at the stain on the wall where the TV's been. But ever since song is called Boss of Me, and for those who don't know, it is the theme song for a 90s television show called Malcolm in the Middle, and I'm 100% sure they are not affiliated with the referendum. Are we having a good time? Yeah! Cool. Well, the next one I'm going to play is out of my own. It's one I've played a lot on the tour with National Collective this summer, and yeah, it's called History Makers, so I think it's relevant. Close to the mic, okay. We're not the bad guys in the stories, we just made a few mistakes. They'll call us history makers for the chances that we take. And even though I know it's getting harder to breathe, I keep my eyes wide open till it's time for us to leave. Oh, the bite is much worse than the mark, the future's looking twice as sharp, and I don't wanna watch you go. No, I don't wanna watch you go. But we won't make the same mistakes, 'cause every card won't be an ace. They'll call us history makers for the chances that we take. Oh, but your eyes look like wine and I wanna drown my sorrows. Your lips taste like life and I wanna get high. Your lips taste like life and I wanna get high. The fallen mount the pavements as their bodies lie in fragments, reminding us of all the times we tried to rule the world. Although it's getting darker, I still wanna be the martyr. If only I weren't so afraid to close my eyes. But we won't make the same mistakes, 'cause every card won't be an ace. They'll call us history makers for the chances that we take. Oh, but your eyes look like wine and I wanna drown my sorrows. Your lips taste like life and I wanna get high. Your lips taste like life and I wanna get high. They'll call us history makers for the chances that we take. They'll call us history makers for the times we scored the ace. They'll call us history makers for the people that we break. They'll call us history makers for the chances that we take. Thank you. Cool. So I'm just gonna play one more song, but before I do, I'd just like to say that being a part of the referendum campaign has been one of the most inspiring things that I've done in my life, and that it's so amazing to see this many people politically engaged. And although we didn't get independence this time, we cannot lose the momentum that we've built. I mean, I'm seeing people here that have brought their kids, and I think that's so fantastic, because it's the next generation that we have to educate if we stand a chance of getting independence in the future. And I'm hopeful that we will. I mean, 45%, it's a minority, but not by much. So, I'm gonna finish up with a wee cover, and yeah, I think you guys will know the words, so if you know the words, sing along. Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, oh, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new brilliant day. There's so many great speakers and acts still to come, so thank you very much, Tommy, for having me.
One, two, one, two. Let's hear it for Josephine Sellers! I tell you what, that's a talented household, isn't it? I wouldn't mind a wee party at Josephine's house. You could have Jim telling brilliant stories and giving great speeches, and Josephine singing beautiful songs. Well done, Josephine. Folks, I'm going to ask if there is a Janet McLean. Janet McLean, going to make your way around the back. We've got a wee couple of things that you're missing, called Waynes. So they're in the back here and they're waiting for you. I'm also going to ask if there is a Simone or a Simon. Simone or Simon, young child, if they could make themselves known and make sure a steward brings them round to the back. They might be lost and we're just a wee bit worried about them. So Simone or Simon, if they could make themselves known, folks. Listen, we're going to try something here before we get our next speaker. We're looking for these photographers. We've been asked if we can do a big selfie. So we're going to try and get Martin Compston and Paul Brannigan up here. Here they come, here we go. And we're going to, listen, please, we're going to apologise. We're going to turn our backs on you, right? But it's only for a photo. Oh, wait a minute, we've been asked to go down on this platform. Oh, it's alright for these young guys, isn't it? Hey, look at that. Oh, there we go. We want the flags waving. We want everybody waving. Let's see it. He's only waving enough. Thanks very much, folks. Yes. Brothers and sisters, our next speaker, again, representing the most positive and, in my opinion, the most inspirational part of our movement, is a young female. Many of you have already heard her speak. Maybe not in person, but certainly through YouTube, because her speeches became absolutely legendary and were shared thousands of times. Let's hear it for a 19-year-old student called Mary Black. Let's hear it for Mary.
Hi there, my name's Mary Black and I'm actually 20 now. Well, I have to say it's an absolute honour to be speaking in George Square of all places. Not just because this is the heart of my hometown, but because this has been the heart of so many political movements throughout this country's history. I mean, let's just appreciate the history here a minute. We had UCS marching through here against the poll tax through here, and in the run-up to the referendum, the celebrations of the Yes campaign in this very square. Now, the one that always captured my imagination, my grandpa used to tell me about it, was Black Friday. You may know of it. When 90,000 working class men and women gathered in this very square and stood up against the British establishment, so powerful that they had to send in the army to deal with them. And in amongst all the chaos, my imagination was set on fire when I imagined that famous red flag being risen, and amongst all these people fighting for a better life, That flag has always been the symbol of hope to me, the symbol of when ordinary people come together and realise their potential. That is why it genuinely breaks my heart that I can stand in that very same square and say with absolute conviction that the Labour Party are now the enemy of working class people. When I think of the giants that have been in the Labour Party, the Keir Hardys, the Tony Benns, the only words that come to my mind are the words of Jimmy Reid. It is not that we have left the Labour Party, it's that they have abandoned us. They haven't just spent the past 2 years campaigning with the Tories, they have now said that they will implement the same cuts as the Tories. They are conservative in every way except in name and colour. And the irony of that is that they're about to run a general election campaign on the slogan, "Vote Labour to keep out the Tories." Well, I don't think that Scotland's quite ready to swallow that line. Let's not forget that when they were asked the question, do you want to rid this country of unelected Tory rule forever, they proudly said, no thanks. But with that in mind, I don't hold it against people that voted no. And it's taken me a long time to reach that opinion. If you asked me on the 19th, I would have had a totally different opinion. But I don't hold it against them. Yes, some were selfish, and they will continue to be selfish. Yes, some were just plain gullible. But overall, they were just as cheated as the rest of us. They weren't just misinformed, they were lied to. Pensioners were told they'd lose their pensions. That was a lie. Immigrants were told they'd be parked out of Scotland. That was a lie. We were told that the NHS would only be safe in the hands of Westminster. That is proven to be a lie. Now we have to accept that people bought it. We do. But I know how hard that is, because I know I don't have to explain to anyone here the pain and the crushing disappointment on the 19th. I was actually at the count in Renfrewshire with my dad and my pal, and when the vote was coming in, the way the hall was laid out, we had to walk past all these fat cat Labour councillors goading us, clapping sarcastically, saying, oh, better luck next time, oh, hard lines. Took everything, every fibre of my being not to put the nut in one of them. I went home to my mum that night, just numb, shattered. I was seething with anger at the Labour Party, if you can't tell. And when I get back, I was tearing down all my yes posters, taking off my badge, saying, that's it, it's done, we've blown it. Our one chance, we've blown it. And I could not help but remember the faces of all the broken people that I have met across this country in this campaign. People in Govan, in Fergusley, in Westerhales, in Easterhouse, Shelston. These people who have been beaten by life in every sense imaginable. And I'm not romanticising it. You could see the hope in their faces. You could see it. They wanted a better future. They wanted power to influence their own lives. I had to explain to 60-year-olds how to vote. These people, it wasn't just that they were coming out to vote, they were voting for something. And I was saying to my mum, it's done. We've taken their hope from them. And my mum said something to me which just stopped me in my tracks. It actually brought me to tears. She stopped me, and I'll say to everyone here today what she said to me. We are their hope. Us, right now, in this square, we are their hope. The people who refuse to give up, that's us. Where most people did buy into the fear and the lies, we have to remember that 45% of this country didn't buy it. They didn't buy it. We should hold our heads high and know that we stood against one of the most powerful establishments on this planet. Not just throwing the kitchen sink at us, throwing the whole bloody house at us, and we didn't crumble. We have to get back into the heart of these broke communities. We have to stay engaged with them, keep them believing that there is still something better. That place that we told them about, that we thought we would get to on the 18th, it still exists. It's just that we have to take a longer route. And that is why, me personally, I will be voting SNP in the next general election. We have to get smart. Now that doesn't mean that I am overly passionate about every single thing the SNP does. It doesn't mean that I love Braveheart or anything like that. What it means is I recognise that they are the most powerful weapon in order to get independence, the strongest vehicle to get us there. Now, where we have to accept the outcome of this referendum, as legitimate or illegitimate as we think it may be, that general election is our chance to send a message loud and clear to Jim Murphy, to Douglas Alexander, Margaret Curran, Gordon Brown. We are paying your bills, no more. Here I have a flyer that went through certainly almost every house in Glasgow, if not Scotland, from the Labour Party. And it said, if you don't know, vote no. How insulting is that? If you don't know, if you're ill-informed, if you're not sure about what will be one of the most important decisions of your life, don't bother getting educated. Don't bother looking into it. Don't you dare question the Labour Party. Shut up, eat your cereal and vote no. How dare they? We have to get people educated. Education dispels fear. It's why all of us are here. We got ourselves politically educated, we looked at the facts and realised independence is the only sensible option for a fairer society. We have to keep spreading that. Go back to your branches, keep champing doors, keep motivating people, report the things that BBC never will. Now I won't lie, I'm scared of the cuts that are coming. I'm scared of the job losses, the unemployment. I'm scared that UKIP now have a representative in the Parliament making decisions for us. But most of all, I am confident. And I'm confident because of everybody here today. The fact that after that colossal, horrendous result, we are still able to stand in this square and stand proudly gives me all the confidence I need. Confidence was the magic ingredient that allowed us to have the courage and the audacity to stand up against the British establishment and some of the most powerful corporations in this country. This flyer is from the party of a woman who says the people of Scotland are not genetically programmed to make political decisions. This same woman has recently said that independence is over. She said that the people have spoken, that's it, done. It's dead. We should all move on. Well, Alex Salmond came out and said the dream will never die. I tell you what, I'm done dreaming. Independence is a reality. It's a reality that is within our grasp if we just keep going that wee bit longer. So in May 2015, we tell those politicians, we send back a pro-independence party to Westminster and send a clear message to Joanne Lamont, to Ian Gray, to Jackie Bailey saying that in 2016, they're next. So get your yes badges back on, get your window bills up, get your car stickers on, and most importantly, send a message to Westminster saying we are the Yes Movement and we are going nowhere. Thank you.
Brothers and sisters, let's hear it for Mhairi Black! I made a wee mistake earlier. I introduced her as 19 years of age. She's 20. Brothers and sisters, you've heard from Jordan. You've heard from Dylan. You've heard from Mhairi. Is it any wonder that we are confident that we are going to secure independence for Scotland? Our next speaker is a woman who, in January, invited me to speak at a meeting in Fife. She wanted me to go up into the kingdom of Gordon Brown. And I spoke at this meeting in Fife, and somebody filmed it and they put it up on YouTube, and it got 160,000 views on YouTube. The woman responsible for organising that meeting, and she says that she doesn't like speaking, she just likes to do all the hard work in the background. Well, I want to give a platform for a woman who does all the hard work in the background. Let's hear it for Marie Penman from Fife.
Hello, Glasgow. Anyone from Fife here? Me, yeah, that's right. I'm from Kirkcaldy in Fife. I'm a Yes campaigner, and I'd like to tell you about 3 things that happened during the referendum campaign in Kirkcaldy. The first one was in January, as Tommy said, when he came through and spoke to one of our Yes meetings. And it did get viewed a lot on YouTube. And after that, Tommy went on to speak at over 100 other venues across Scotland and persuaded thousands of people to vote yes, who might not have done beforehand. So I'd like to say thank you to Tommy for all the persuading that he did over the campaign, and I'm just sorry we didn't get the right result. Interestingly enough, when Tommy spoke in Kirkcaldy, despite that video on YouTube getting 165,000 views, it didn't really get much mention in the mainstream media. In fact, it was pretty much ignored. What did get quite a lot of coverage was something that happened a few months later in Kirkcaldy. In August, one Thursday afternoon in August, we had a visit to Kirkcaldy from Jim Murphy, MP. Jim Murphy rolled into town as part of his tour speaking in favour of the Union, and while he was speaking on Kirkcaldy High Street, somebody threw an egg at him. I know. Contrary to what Jim Murphy said, this was not part of any Yes conspiracy. It wasn't some underground movement attacking him. It was just a random guy who got annoyed at what he was saying. And I know that because I was standing next to him. However, from the amount of coverage that followed that, the headlines, the opinion columns, the news reports, you'd think he'd been shot. It was just an egg, and in fact, I think it was probably the only missile or weapon that was thrown during a 2-year campaign for independence. And I think for that reason, we can all be quite proud that we fought a good campaign, we fought an honest campaign, but most importantly, we were part of a peaceful revolution without any weapons raised. So Jim Murphy got hit by an egg. Maybe the person that threw it was just annoyed at the thought of the £1 million in expenses that he claimed over 7 years as a Member of Parliament. £1 million in 7 years. So that wasn't a great day for Kirkcaldy. What else happened in Kirkcaldy was that our Member of Parliament, Gordon Brown, who kept himself pretty much in the background through the campaign, finally decided to get a bit more involved. He started off by going around Fife speaking to public meetings, mainly of pensioners, and scaring them into thinking they couldn't vote yes. He scared them about organ donors, about blood transfusion services, about things that an independent Scotland wouldn't have. He told them we couldn't afford to govern ourselves. He told them their pensions were not safe in an independent Scotland, which is ironic considering he was the one who trashed the UK pension system when he was Chancellor of the Exchequer. But all the scare stories didn't seem to be working. So what Gordon Brown did next is he got in touch with Cameron, Clegg and Miliband and came up with a vow. A vow that isn't really worth the paper it was printed on, especially since that paper was the Daily Record. Not surprisingly, this vow, which promised further powers for Scotland, soon became worth even less within hours of the result being announced. As David Cameron stood on the steps of 10 Downing Street, he immediately distanced himself from those promises of further powers for Scotland. So much so that Gordon Brown has now been reduced to jumping on the back of somebody else's petition. It wasn't him that started it, it was somebody else. And if you want to know where he was yesterday, he was standing on Kirkcaldy High Street with a stall asking people to sign this petition to make sure that the Westminster Parliaments paid attention to what we asked for in the vow. When somebody asked him, why do we need a petition when we've got a vow, he said, just to be doubly sure. How many people believe that we're going to get those further powers that were promised on the Daily Record? How many people think Westminster is the government that's going to deliver independence for Scotland? I know that we lost that referendum vote on the 18th and it broke my heart, but we can't give up. We're still on the right path, and our next stop is the Westminster election on the 7th of May 2015. And on that day, we get the chance to send a message to Westminster. If they're so keen for us to be part of the Union, if they really think we're better together, then let's go down there in bigger numbers. Right now, there are 6 SNPs, MPs in Westminster. I say next May, let's wipe out Labour in Scotland. Let's vote SNP and let's send 30, 40, 50 SNP MPs down to Westminster to fight for independence for Scotland. And as for Gordon Brown, you might remember last year at this time in a television interview, he described himself as an ex-politician. I say we make that come true in May. And in Kirkcaldy, where I'm from, he might have a majority of 23,000, but he's there for the taking in May. Let's vote for SNP and let's get independence for Scotland finally. Thank you.
Let's hear it from Marie Penman! Folks, another couple of wee announcements. Franco Di Ambrosio, cousin Kathy, is inside the barrier here, and you're supposed to be a carer. So gonna you come and get inside the barrier as well. And in relation to the wee earlier announcement about Simone or Simon, apparently you've got all the food and Grant and Blair are looking for you, so please make your way to the backstage. Brothers and sisters, our next speaker is yet another example of the young people of Scotland fighting for their future and for our freedom. Let's put your hands together for a young actress and independence campaigner, Kira Lucchese.
Can you hear me? Oh my god, this is one of the most scary but incredible things that I've ever done. When I first got asked if I would speak at this, I was first of all like, absolutely no chance. But I quickly got over that, and I'm glad that I did, because I think it's important that I do speak, because this entire campaign has been about the people and the people having a voice. So now you're going to need to listen to my annoying voice for the next few minutes. The lead up to the referendum for me was ridiculously exciting. I made new pals and I reunited with old friends, and I found something new in the relationships that I already had. I just really feel as if I'm part of something. And I was scared that I was never ever going to feel that way again, but see, looking around here today and seeing who you are, I know that that's a lot of rubbish. The campaign was really positive, and we had to be positive, we had to be like that. We had to keep pushing forward and not looking back. But that just meant that the come down was that wee bit harder. I went into my work and sat in the makeup chair greeting to my pal Joy for about 2 days. And then I eventually picked myself up and I said, no, this isn't over. And I know, looking at everybody here today, that you all feel the same. I'm 25 years old, and for the first time in my life, I feel as if I've got a voice in politics. The people of Scotland, and in particular the young people, are becoming more and more politically aware, and that could only be a good thing. And the Yes movement is continuing to do that and ensuring that everybody is politically aware. So, see, for the children that I've yet to have, and all of yours, let's give them the greatest gift of all. A new, beautiful, exciting, creative and free Scotland. Because I can't even bother with this fear carry on anymore. So let's make it happen. Continue to speak to folk. Your auntie, your neighbour, your pal, your workmate, whatever. Speak to those people that are still on the journey but just aren't quite there yet. Because it counts. Help them to open their eyes and see how amazing things could really be. Because see, regardless of where you stand in your politics, every single one of us shares the same hope and ambition for the Scotland that we deserve. Dream big, everybody!
Let's hear it for Kira Lucchese! I heard somebody shouting, no, it's Stella. That's only in the telly. Brothers and sisters, while the next act is setting up behind me, can I take this opportunity to remind you of a couple of other wee events. There's going to be a Nanty-fracking march, 25th of October in Falkirk. So please go to the websites, Facebook pages, Scotland Against Fracking March and Hands Off Our Scotland, and please get involved in that very worthwhile campaign as well. Can I also say, these magnificent t-shirts, unfortunately they're sold out, we don't have any left, but we are taking orders, we will send them out to you. So please give your names to the wee gazebo here before you go, or contact the Hope Over Fear Facebook page. Okay folks, I'm just going to check, are you guys nearly ready? Oh wait a minute, somebody says thumbs up, somebody says a couple of minutes. Oh, it's still a couple of minutes. Please go on, each of you, to the social media sites. Get involved with the Hope Over Fear page. Order the flags, order the t-shirts. I would personally like to see this same type of thing happen in Edinburgh, in Dundee, in Fife, all over Scotland. All over Scotland. We have to make sure, as people have said already from the platform, I can remember some of you who are old enough will remember the last Titanic battle where the British establishment was taken to the brink in the 1984-85 miners' strike. I remember the South Wales miners marching back to work in March of 1985 with a banner that is applicable to us here today. That banner read, "This is the end. The end of the beginning. The end of the beginning." Brothers and sisters, please put your hands together for the Tron Gate Drum Riot!